Welcome to USfanTV, where our other team is not Mexico.
Absolutely not.
Sorry,
I made
Landon.
sure. I made sure not to wear anything green tonight.
No Verde.
9.
9, yeah. Hey, they wear green too.
True, true.
Yeah, this is normally a show where we talk about soccer in the United States, but I mean, who are we kidding? We're not going to do that. The World Cup's on, and we're not a part of it, but that doesn't mean we stop. So tonight's your night to ask us anything about the World Cup or whatever. We're going to talk about Mexico and their tactical masterclass against Germany. I can't believe I'm saying that, but like objectively, I was blown away. I was so impressed. I still hate, El Tri, but as a soccer fan, I was very impressed with that.
I still don't like the idea of sharing a coach again with Mexico, but I gotta say the job Osorio did. It was fucking impressive. Like, I mean, I certainly still booed and walked out after the game, but and said a lot of, we'll say, derisive things about the Mexican team during the game, but I didn't get real argumentative with any of their fans around me, because I was like, yeah, no, you guys earned this one. Like, I can't even debate that.
It was outstanding. It was outstanding. We're going to talk about Messi and him looking like he was going to hang himself before the game today, with the amount of pressure that's on his shoulders. We're going to talk about Ronaldo, who's
just going to hang another goal on
sit-ups after every team. He does.
Maybe a hat trick.
A little chin for Ronaldo.
I should have shaved this down just to that little goatee thing that he's doing.
Croatia or Belgium, can they actually win it? France has 6 points, but somehow it doesn't look like they should. There's lots of different things that Russia. What's going on? I thought that all the dopers
overrated.
They can't possibly be doping, can they?
You mean
even now after everything? And what kind of doping would help you in soccer? Would it be like the type of stuff that Lance Armstrong was doing? I don't know. That's probably another show. But I expect them to come back to earth at some point soon. But we should probably start with Messi, since that's today. We're going to start with the thing that actually happened today.
You should probably introduce yourself as well.
I'm Pat. He's Chris.
I'm Chris.
And then we have
joining
TJ.
Us in moving
Keeps
all over
adjusting
is
his shot.
TJ. Yeah.
There he is. There's
And
TJ.
now we can't hear you.
He's talking, but we can't hear him. He's going to be in the little lower right corner of the whole show. He'll just maybe he can work with facial expressions or something. Croatia 3, Argentina 0. I didn't expect Argentina to do well. Yeah, we did. This is what we need to talk about before we talk about anything else. On this show, how we've told you that Chris ruins things. Chris ruins Arsenal or whatever it may be. Every team that he's like, I'm gonna support that team. Everything gets bad lately with him, because everything.
It's not necessarily lately. The Blues have never won shit. So
they were exceptionally bad this year, though. But it wasn't as heartbreaking because you didn't have to deal with the whole thing. But tell everyone what your Father's Day gift was. A very nice Father's Day gift.
My Father's Day gift was a new Messi jersey, a Messi Argentina jersey. And they have done exactly nothing since I've worn it. Yeah, that has not gone well. It's not been TJC moving all over. I still hear nothing from you.
It's because I'm not saying anything, dumbass.
Hey,
TJ will get that shot adjusted in the 9:30 around there, probably.
You know what? It's a work in progress. Hey, it's technology upgrade for me. Hack guy, you homeless bastard.
Yeah.
Anyway, things have not gone well since.
Since not good.
Since taking ownership of that jersey, I feel bad because I really do want Messi to win this World Cup, but I see almost no way they're advancing to the next round.
They looked like
They look terrible.
People who were wearing the same shirt that had no idea what anyone else was going to do out there.
Yeah.
And to blame this on Messi is, although, it's a criticism we hear about Mesut Ozil quite a bit. He wasn't really all that involved in the game. To blame it on him solely is ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, like when people talk about Ronaldo seems to be having the best World Cup perhaps ever, if he can continue this for just a few more games.
It's 2 games here.
In the group stage. Having said that, he's doing this because he's marked by like 1 to 2 guys at all times. Messi's marked by 3 to 5 at all times. The key to stopping Argentina is surround Messi and then just pack as many guys at the top of the box as possible, because they don't have anyone else who can break down the offense, break down the defense there. They need a real midfield playmaker, someone who can both, facilitate moving the ball from like Mascherano at the back to Messi in the front, and then give Messi the opportunity to stay in the front, and then also draw some of their defenders towards them. Part of the problem is when you're going to surround players around Messi anyway, the only way he can, 1, get the ball, and 2, open up the offense for anyone else is to take himself completely out of the play, basically. I mean, he was at times, literally, he picked up the ball off of, I can't remember if it was Otamendi's foot.
We noticed it at the same time, though, yeah.
It was a Michael Bradley thing. Yeah, I tweeted it just as you were texting.
And that's such a sign of desperation. And he's supposed to be even farther forward than Michael Bradley was when he was doing it. So, yeah, it's a really, really, at that point, I'm like, there's no way they're going to score.
No, absolutely not. Meanwhile, I mean, you got Rakitic and Modric in the Croatian midfield just running the entire central, at least central third of the field, but you could probably even put it to 50% or so of the field, because I mean, they pretty much had, I would say, 25% of the field on either side of the midfield line, at least. Later in the game, it was more than that, and they were probably bossing 60 to 70% of the field just between the two of them, pretty much. So yeah, without someone like really either of those guys in Argentina's team, they're just not a good team. I mean, they have a lot of great players, but they're not a complete team. They have a whole bunch of attacking talent, but it's all like wingers or strikers. It's guys who can either dribble or who can score, but they don't necessarily have people who can move the ball in between. Mascherano's too old to still kind of to do some of that. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mascherano. I think that guy's incredible, but he's just too old at this point, and he's even deeper playmaker. He's, maybe you could say, a stopper in old time far 30-year plus style lineups, where it's he's the very beginning perhaps of the offense, but he's even behind the defensive midfielder, and they just don't have those guys in their lineup to move the ball up the field and then to stop some of the counterattacking things like they had against Iceland.
I wonder what the media is doing to that team right now, because I mean they hate them already. It's such a I don't know that there's a country that rides its own players more than that one. And I wonder
maybe not its own players, but one player in particular.
Sure.
Because I mean, you could say Mexico and England are just as guilty. They're just as bad about building players up and then tearing them down.
I think that England tries to destroy its own players more than
But well, you could say the same of Mexico. I mean, look at the way they went after those women that may have been prostitutes or escorts or whatever just a few weeks ago at the team hotel. And it's look, whatever. We have no proof that it was anybody but even just single players. So who cares what they were really doing? I mean, it may have been illegal, but you're just doing this for attention. Whatever. Anyway. The problem with Argentina is they tear down Messi. I mean, even Sampaoli said that the problem is what?
Thanks. Christian told me my audio sucked. I hope that's better now.
Okay.
I just switched my mic. That should be better.
Anyway, their coach even said when we score and when we win, it's everyone's collective ability and everyone's responsibility. When we lose, it's Messi's responsibility. And it's a lot for any player to carry. It's even more, I think, for him to carry, because I just don't think he has the self-assurance, the ego, the whatever, the belief in himself that most world-class players have. He just doesn't have that. And so I think he gets into his own head, and then it also like inhibits his play.
Is it possible this just really wasn't that good of a team to begin with? They struggled through qualifying.
Think absolutely, yeah. No, I think I think you're exactly right.
I think that everybody had crowned them, put them into the semifinals, I thought was a reach. I'm like, this team struggled in qualifying. I'm not as sold on everybody else in that sense. So that was the first thing that came to mind when I saw them struggling. It's like they weren't that good in qualifying. And and I got it, Messi had a red card in there and so on and so forth, but at the same time, they barely got through even with him healthy.
I think you can say, the last 2 World Cups, the team itself wasn't always that great. I mean, pretty much Messi carried them to like the final. He carried them as far as he could. It's Messi and company, and that's the real problem. I mean, it's always going to be that when you have somebody of his quality. I mean, even Brazil is Neymar and company to some extent, but at least they have other real names that can carry some of this. Aguero, Higuain, Mascherano carry some of this, but Higuain and Aguero are swapping in and out, so only one of them's out there, and they're there just to score goals. And they're not doing a lot of playmaking or playing wide and coming in. Di Maria, I'm a huge fan of Di Maria's, but like he's kind of I guess in a sense you could say like Messi, he has a very particular role. And if you don't have that opportunity to play him in that role, he's a useless player. He becomes what he was at Manchester United. So yeah, I think you're exactly right. They weren't that good of a team coming in. They're not that good of a team altogether. They have some very good talent, and in the end, they still have Lionel Messi, but Messi can't carry everything.
It's interesting they played Iceland too, because they're the opposite of Iceland. Iceland is everything about the team. Everything. It's the team. It's the team. And then Argentina is a collection of individuals that doesn't really work. I think it was Roger Bennett that said a World Cup team is kind of like a Pro Bowl team, and that they come together so quickly. They might all be really good, but sometimes they're just not a team. Argentina is a great example of that. So
he needs an Iniesta, maybe somebody like that.
Maybe Maradona needs to get back on the bench and.
I noticed he didn't look nearly as out of it when they showed him today.
My only thought was even fat Maradona probably could still boss over half the players on any one of these fields. That's the first thought I had. And then the other thought is, Chris, you have an Argentina jersey. There's a reason there was a show that was Everybody Hates Chris. I mean, it was about you indirectly.
Yeah, it's to have a whole bunch of Everybody Hates Chris stuff. So we'll say that's the talk of Argentina. What are your other thoughts on kind of the best of the World Cup so far?
The best, Ronaldo's opening game performance.
I think you got to hand it to him for 2 games now. I mean, 4 goals over two games. But he has all of Portugal's output on himself.
Well, for me, not to be Landon Donovan, but for me, the best performance of the whole tournament was Mexico. You could see clearly what they were doing. They did it, and it worked against the best team in the world. Or at least the defending champions. I don't know if we want to call them the best team in the world anymore. Maybe they'll prove Saturday that they are again. But
I cited because I was sort of writing notes here of my thoughts on things, and I specifically cited Juan Pablo Osorio because, to me, the German players still looked better than the Mexican players when it was like 1-1 and stuff. But Mexico as a team Osorio simply outcoached Love. Completely wiped the field with them. Now, granted, it could be, maybe it'll turn out that Mexico, kind of blew their wad, focusing on this one game, and they will suck from here on out. Who knows?
Two specific things about that game.
I tend to think, though, they got some confidence here. If Osorio keeps his game up, and we know that's kind of his thing, he's a geek on this stuff. They could be much more dangerous than maybe anyone was giving them credit for. Certainly that I was giving them credit for.
I don't know. I do kind of feel like Mexico is kind of like us too, in that they will play a really fantastic game and win, and then they'll have a huge letdown too. But I would not be surprised if that happened. But I will say tactically, two things.
Oh, thank you, Christian. Yeah, I said Juan Pablo. You're right. Juan Carlos Osorio.
You also said blew their wad.
Tactically,
Mexico looked a bit like they were playing against us in Columbus. They were using the wings quite a bit more than Germany, and to an even greater degree, they were counterattacking, which chance after chance. I mean, that game, if León can land anything near the goal during that game on the what did he have, 7 or 8 gigantic misses? If he puts anything near the goal, that could have been a blowout. But he was kind of the one weak point in his poor shot selection, or I guess he was open for them. They were from distance, but maybe if you could get him a little bit closer to Neuer, maybe Neuer was in his head. And I thought there was a shot early on where Chicharito should have put it on his left foot and cracked it, and I think he got freaked by Neuer and didn't. So I think maybe Mexico was a little bit intimidated going out, but once Chucky got that goal, then they knew all they had to do was.
But in watching Germany, I wasn't exactly impressed with Neuer either. I get it; his legend is what it is, but at the same, I don't think he is I don't think he's 100% healthy. But I think you're right. Maybe his reputation does give him a little bit of, heads above it. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not convinced he's everything there. Germany looked out of sorts to me. And maybe part of that is Mexico. Again, how long did Juan Carlos Osorio have to plan for that? Not Juan Pablo, Chris, Juan Carlos.
I was just going to say, you sure it's not Juan Pablo?
Yeah, but how long did he have to plan for that? Let's see what he's got for the next game. Let's see what he has going forward. And it was great to see in the second half, which is when I got to see most of the game, was Mexico doing every trick that they ever do. But which makes me transitions, as much as Mexico does all these tactically dirty things and, stifles the game and so on and so forth, has anybody taken it to a level that Iran has?
Oh, God.
And the diving and flopping and
that was atrocious. That was speaking of worst things of the tournament. That was up there with probably the officiating from Brazil, Switzerland. And was it Otamendi? Which one of the Argentine defenders just smashed that ball into Rakitich's head when he got tripped late in the game today?
That was Otamendi.
Yeah,
Otamendi.
That should have been. If they don't award him a red, after tonight or tomorrow, that's criminal. That dude just took a headshot at somebody from a foot away, who was only on the ground because you'd been tripped anyway. Come on. So anonymity took a shot at my favorite player in this tournament, and Pepe. And when Pepe decided to die from being tapped on the shoulder or on the back. I forgot about that one.
Pepe's going to Pepe. Pepe is going to Pepe. There was nothing better than that game between him and Ramos. I was hoping they just come up to each other and throw up a punch.
Break each other's necks.
That would have been peak Germany or Portugal and Spain.
Sandra says that in Germany they're calling Mesut Ozil Death Frog, which
I do actually enjoy.
I can't stop laughing at that.
I do have to laugh at the Spurs song about his eyes are offsides. His eyes are offsides. Mesut Ozil, his eyes are offsides. Yeah, even I have to laugh at that one. That's kind of cruel. But I enjoy cruel things. So.
I know we were texting back and forth during that game with between Sergio Ramos and Pepe. No, I'm still here. Are you going away, Chris?
Okay.
Is that the view?
I paused for a second.
Yeah. You froze.
Yeah, but that was a tough question, though. Who do we hate more, Pepe or Sergio Ramos, when it's all said and done? And I don't know, Chris. What do you think? We debated this one. This was a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, my comment was I didn't want Ronaldo to win, but I also didn't want Sergio Ramos to win. I can't remember what I said there. But yeah, Pepe's a good counterpoint to that. Like, who do you want to lose more? I don't even know. Like, I don't have the kind of hatred for them that I have for like Kevin Prince Boateng or who's the Dutch defender?
Nigel de Jong.
Yeah, thank you, Nigel de Jong. Yeah, I like my hatred for the two of those guys is never ending. I don't hate either of those two. I just don't respect either of them. Like, I kind of get what they're after. Like De Jong and Kevin Prince Boateng to me just seem like their whole game is pretty much just smash somebody. Like, it's pretty much, I'm gonna break your legs and we'll see if you can handle it. Like, that's all they kind of bring to the table. At least Sergio Ramos has some talent beyond that. Maybe it's that, I don't know, I view him differently, so I accept that he has talent beyond that. Because it's not like Nigel Young can't play, but whatever. Either way, yeah, I don't know what to say there. Do I hate Pepe or Ramos more? I don't know. I guess they're kind of equally detestable to me.
Do we need to talk about Landon real quick?
We will certainly get there. Another worst of the World Cup so far. Willie Caballero's decision to play the ball for that first goal for Croatia. What in the hell was that? Like, you should be benched for that.
That was incredibly dreadful, and you could see at that point, like, they went from frustrated and angry to just completely dejected.
Yeah,
it was just over then. But I mean,
as much of a howler as that is, De Gea, the one who I said could steal a game, gave one away.
See, yeah, he did.
Second goal, yes,
he did. I still say, like,
it's more understandable.
Yeah, I mean, he was well positioned. His form was good. His hands were just crap. Now, it does suck when a goalie's hands are crap, but especially like the guy who should be probably the best goalie in the world. But at least he kind of made the save. He just screwed it up. Like, Caballero, what the hell was he even doing? Like, he could have done anything in the world but that.
You could have kicked it out for a corner, and it would have been a much better decision than.
Well, I was just going to ask, so Caballero or the Saudi keeper from the other day?
That's another. I mean, I hesitate to say howler because I just think it's such an overused term. But yeah, I mean, those are probably the three worst plays, whatever, of the tournament.
How about, and then my question, because I'm the referee here, and I know, Chris, I know how much you adore referees, the Geiger show. And the accusation about Mark Geiger.
I think that's bullshit, honestly. And I don't like Mark Geiger from the 2015 Gold Cup, but I think that's bullshit. I don't think I credit to FIFA for standing up for their guy, but I think that Morocco wanted to start shit. I highly doubt Mark Geiger asked for Ronaldo's shirt. And at first they said it was Pepe's shirt. And now they're saying it was Ronaldo's. But yeah, I would be blown away if he did.
Yeah, that seems so outlandish that it's hard to believe. Yeah.
And how much? And I get it. It's comedic gold, but at the same time, the referees wearing the full uniforms in the VAR room.
yeah, that's funny.
It is funny. Are you guys worried about France? One hand 6 points. On the other hand, they haven't looked like
they haven't looked as good as they should, but they're still getting the results, which is kind of the hallmark of a really
teams
good
that go on to win. Yeah.
Look, they're winning even when they kind of can't help but win, like they can't even get out of their own way, sort of, and they can't. They're still winning. To me, when you look at that midfield, if they can get everything together, I don't know who can beat them.
It's bizarre to me that, I mean, I like the guy, but it's bizarre to me that they have Olivier Giroud sitting up on top with that quality of a midfield. Giroud seems like the odd man out, and I know he does well for France. They can use him there.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, when you can control the ball that well, then you don't have to use speed up top like it was always his failing at Arsenal. In the right situation, look, we know he's good with his head. He's good in the air. And he has an excellent touch on the ball. He's just super slow. Like, my comment on him, which I think we've talked about, but I don't know that I've ever said here, is I actually think he jogs faster than he sprints. And I've watched this because I tried to figure out why he was so slow for so long watching it for Arsenal. And if you notice, when he's running fast, he takes tiny steps. But when he jogs, he takes a 6'4" steps or whatever he is, like tall. So his stride is like 6 feet long, but when he runs, it's like bah, 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 bah. So he's probably taken 40 steps by the time he gets as far as like 1 or 2 steps when he's jogging.
It's so beautiful too.
The only thing I genuinely think he jogs faster than he runs. I have watched this and I insist that this is true.
The only thing I think when it comes to France, oh, by the way, I think we found our picture for the front is he jogs faster than he sprints. We got to find some variation of that.
He jogs faster than he sprints. He jogs faster than he sprints.
Pogba still looks lost. At least and if he figures it out, that's when I think France rolls everybody. But he still looks kind of lost on that team. And I'm not sure if it's just, can you blame, what's his name with Manchester United for breaking him?
Mourinho.
Oh, Jose Mourinho,
maybe,
yeah.
He's incredibly talented.
To me, he's a little bit like Yaya Toure.
Yeah.
It's like he can have a moment of brilliance, and then he might not care for the next half hour. But he can have that one touch, and it's like, how the hell did you just do that? But then he just kind of disappears because he just doesn't seem to care. And I think that's it. Like, if he could sort of turn it on the whole time, suddenly it's like, oh my God, I get why he was just a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, the most expensive transfer in the world.
It's you guys, for me, I'm kind of enjoying the tournament. I'm a little more relaxed during the tournament. I'm just enjoying it for what it is. I'm not nervous about what the U.S. is going to do and how we're going to botch it or whatever. I think I'm enjoying the tournament more than I thought I would. Definitely more than I thought I would after we didn't qualify, where I was thinking I wouldn't even watch. But it's been fun so far. So, and I have decided too that if we miss in 2022, I'm going and I'm gonna be an Australia fan because they look like fun, and I can be like,
they don't make it, mate.
Well, I'm guessing they're drunk. I'm guessing they're all drunk.
Yeah,
which doesn't hurt any.
The loudest people on earth. Like, seriously, like people will talk about how loud Americans are.
They're louder than us.
Hang around Australians. I swear to God, it's like everything they do is at shouting volume. I don't know. It's the craziest thing. Like everywhere I've ever been where there've been a group of Australians around, everything they do is just like yelling.
You've been around groups of Australians?
I have.
In Wisconsin?
Not in Wisconsin, but like in places traveling around the world. I have been in the company of Australians before.
You're telling me you've seen Crocodile Dundee?
You probably have.
I once watched Crocodile Dundee. I am officially
I'm gonna weigh in.
Knowledgeable about.
I feel like
that's not a knife. That's a knife.
I feel like Crocodile Dundee is going to somehow wind up like Bob Newhart's character in Big Bang Theory, like over the hill doing children's parties somewhere and scaring the shit out of them. So Russia, are they for real? Is Putin buying everybody off so they win?
That I wouldn't be surprised
by. I would not be surprised if there's something going on.
Yeah. Strange that the country that bought the World Cup got drawn into the statistically easiest group of all time, is the leading scorer in the tournament, and was the first to qualify for the second round.
I mean, you're leaving out
very
better
strong
evidence than that. You're leaving out an entire doping program that had them win the most gold medals in their own Olympics in Sochi.
Very true. Yeah.
not saying that's happening, but it just seems peculiar because I thought Russia sucked.
A doping program so intense that they couldn't even play in the last Olympics under their own banner. They had to wear that OAR bullshit, or Olympic, OAR, and then not play. Maybe they did get to play the Russian anthem in the end. Like, it was all
they did not get to play the Russian. They did not get to play the Russian anthem,
but they all got to comment and say, "We are doing this for all of the athletes who are inappropriately kept home." Okay.
Well, and then the next day that whole ban was lifted, which I found kind of ironic. But is Russia are they gonna go deep or into the tournament, or are they?
No, but I think
someone gonna eventually slap the holy shit out of them.
I mean, you do have to look at, they've played two pretty crappy teams already, so there is a little bit that falsely improves them or makes them look maybe unfairly better than they are. I do have questions. They have to play Uruguay still, right?
Correct.
Isn't that the 14th?
Yes, that's the one they have left is Uruguay.
I gotta say, Godin and who's the other dude from Atletico next to him in the central defensive pair for Uruguay? I can't think of his name right now. Those two have looked so damn good, and I mean, we know Atletico has an awesome defense. I have trouble believing Russia's going to score against them. Of course, who knows? Maybe Suarez decides to take a bite out of someone and things go to hell.
So, under the presumption Suarez keeps his head together, would you, if you're anybody, do you want to play Uruguay at any point in this tournament? Or, I mean, they look.
Is it time for a feeding, TJ?
I think you start to worry about any team once you get into kind of knockout rounds, because who knows, anything could happen. I mean, even getting completely outplayed by Belgium 4 years ago, we very nearly defeated them. A certain someone we'll talk about who is effectively dead to me now, had he been there.
Wow.
I got some
dead to you?
I got some comments on that. He's very deeply pissed me off lately.
Wow, Skip Bayless.
Anyway,
you're gonna embrace debate.
Can you guys stall? Can you guys stall for a couple minutes? I want to hear this Chris on Landon Donovan thing, but I need to go get a bottle for Mary Grace. Can we stall? Can you guys keep?
We're not there yet. We haven't even gotten over. It hadn't hit the most overrated of the tournament so far.
All right, you guys keep going on that. I'm gonna go get a bottle.
All right. Anyway,
things that happen on the show. There's baby feedings that happen live on the air. Anything can happen. And probably
USfanTV, anything can happen. Hashtag anything can happen. I don't remember where I was, so I'll move on with my most overrated of the tournament. I put Russia in that, so maybe I haven't totally lost where I was. I do think they look much better than they really are. Overrated, Harry Kane, I'm going to say. And that's odd to say about somebody who did score 2 goals, both of his team's goals in a victory.
Bit of bias there, huh?
Well, see, hold on. My feeling is his goals were incredibly opportunistic. They were effectively luck. Like, both goals he put in were largely goals literally anyone could have scored. I mean, he was just left standing wide open in the box. The ball fell at his feet. He kicked it in. Like, he didn't have to do a lot to make sense. Now, granted, I will fully admit that, look, you can only score the goals you can only score the shots you're given, you know? When you're a striker, you score the goals you have to score, and that's doing your job. It's sort of like trying to qualify wins sometimes, where it's like, look, you can only beat the teams that you play. You can only score the goals that you have to shoot, or whatever. It doesn't quite make sense, but you know what I mean. So maybe that's a little bit unfair. But for a guy who was like talking about how he was potentially going to win the Golden Boot coming into this, I'm sorry, you haven't even won a World Cup game yet. He hadn't at the time anyway. How about you focus on maybe seeing your team to victory before you start talking about trophies you're going to take home? I found that to be incredibly arrogant. Then I watched his goals and it was like, I don't know that I have a lot to say, oh, yeah, that was really impressive. When it's like, look, One of them was deflected from a corner. Everyone was in the box, so I don't know that you can say, oh, but he had such good positioning or such good play off the ball, such good movement. No, he just happened to be where the ball dropped. The second one was kind of similar, and I can't remember what the play was that led up to that, but it was sort of the same thing where it was like the ball just kind of dropped to him, and then oh hey yeah you finish it off, so what? So whatever, you can say this is just a hot take, but my feeling is you look at what Ronaldo's done so far, and that's a guy who's playing for the Golden Boot to me. I mean, granted, we're only 2 games in, 1 game for England, but I don't. The class just looks different there between Ronaldo and Harry Kane.
I think Harry Kane is, if we're not counting Ronaldo as a striker, I think Harry Kane's probably one of the 2 best in the world right now with him and Lewandowski. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I were Arsenal, I would have tried to spend £100 million to buy him a year ago. To me, he's one of the few guys I would actually throw £100 million at, and partially because it would also screw over the biggest rival. So
that would be a very Jose Mourinho move too, is to go back and buy a guy that was in your system. That you
yeah.
Who's that rival team? I still don't know who that is.
Every time we make the joke, someone will find this video 6 months from now and wonder why we don't know who that team is.
It's shocking. Yes. Like I didn't know that, and might be why I made the joke.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't understand.
So yes, if you happen to leave a comment not believing that we don't know who a certain team is,
I like it when that happens.
I'm just going to point out, we enjoy laughing at you. I find it hilarious.
When we engage with you, and you get angry at us, don't say we didn't tell you.
I will keep it going. Most overrated as well. Other overrated teams or things. I'm going to say Egypt. We were expecting so much, especially with Mo Salah, and maybe this is unfair because he was coming in with a fairly major injury. But man, they did not really put that much up, and they're bounced after 2 games.
Do you guys think that that's Bob Bradley's fault?
Of course.
Ooh.
Of course it's Bob Bradley's fault.
Need to get some Swansea fans in here to discuss this. I'm torn on my other most overrated. Between Nigeria and Morocco. Nigeria, I feel like they got overhyped because of a jersey, a uniform that like everyone loved, which I have admitted I think is too busy and I don't really like it. Although I do like the warm-ups that are just like it for, I think it's Saudi Arabia, but whatever. Maybe it's the color difference.
To be fair, you're a 40-year-old white dude. 41. I don't think those jerseys are for you.
I guess.
Well, if you want to win, you don't make a jersey Chris is going to like.
That's a good point. That's a great point, actually. That you will never buy that jersey.
So maybe Arsenal will win the league next year, because I think these uniforms are absolutely atrocious.
Is going out with a whimper. I'll be waiting to buy the Adidas.
There's a reason kit rhymes with shit when it comes to this year's uniforms from Puma for Arsenal. Anyway, Morocco supposedly was the best team, possibly the best team in Africa coming into this tournament, and I didn't think Nigeria looked good in their opening game. Morocco again bounced after 2 straight games, so I'm putting both of those 2, at least one of those. I couldn't decide. I gave them I slashed between. I was like, it's got to be one of these 2 that I'd also put into most overrated. Maybe Nigeria will come back and look better in their second game, but they just sort of looked, I don't know, out of joint in their first.
If we're going for one game, it
was boring.
If we're going for one game and overrated, so far Poland.
Yeah.
I mean, they got done, and they got done pretty sound. I mean, they were beaten pretty soundly. I get it. They got one back, but they looked overmatched in that game. Or is Senegal that good? I mean, that's what your next question would be.
I think an African team is due.
C'est possible.
We're due for one to have it make a really deep run. Senegal,
another Cameroon, basically.
Yeah. Where would you like to go with this show from here, Chris? You seem to have more notes than I do.
I think
people are talking about Landon Donovan. The people are.
I was going to say, from here, my notes go to one Landon Donovan. To me, well, okay. I was actually going to say,
sit back and listen.
I was actually going to say, is this is my question, I guess, to you guys, maybe to the viewers as well. Is this the most widely relevant he's ever been to the rest of the country? Because even Jalen Rose was commenting on him. And I can't imagine Jalen Rose. I mean, I don't know Jalen Rose, but I can't imagine like a retired basketball player has that much history playing soccer. Like maybe I could see like basketball players today, but most of the guys who are retired, they're older. They kind of missed a lot of that window. I have trouble believing they truly have watched a lot of soccer. So even Jalen Rose has come out to say like he's just a corporate shill now. Like nobody's going to respect you anymore.
For me, I didn't care about the comment that he was cheering for Mexico. Whatever, I didn't give a shit. I loved that he was getting spanked by Twellman and Bocanegra and his old teammates, but I didn't care until I found it was a Wells Fargo bit.
It's two things for me, and this is one of them. That's one of the parts as to why it upset me so much. But yeah, you can continue. Sorry.
No, keep going. She needs to burp anyway, so go ahead.
All right. Well, okay. So I have two reasons why I found this so offensive. One was, it is just him getting paid to do this. So, like, really, like you've been the embodiment of U.S. soccer for so long. Mexicans literally throw bags of piss at us because you went pee on the field at a game against Mexico one time. You are known to have all kinds of things thrown at you when you've taken a corner or a free kick or something. I mean, enough that you've had to like say something to referees like, "Can't you do something here?" Like, look at all those pictures of what was it, his last Gold Cup that he played in, where it was like trash just raining down on him. They like specifically went after him, and he relished this. I mean, he talked about how much he hated Mexico, and it was clear, like there were times in plenty of times when he played for the U.S. where it was like he didn't seem to care in a number of games, but there was not a single U.S.-Mexico match that it didn't look like he was playing there to kill someone. Like if he had to step on his mother's throat to score a goal, he would have done it with both feet. He was 100% in this to win it. The rumor is that he even took 20 when he went to play for León because it was 2-0. Now, no one knows that for sure. He's never confirmed that. But lots of people, including some people close to him, have said, oh, that's totally his kind of humor. He would love to do something like that because it's subtle and he can sort of get one over on him. And here he is telling us to root for him. Now, I don't mind if individually he wants to do that. Fine, whatever. He has his reasons. And sure, okay. But when he's paid to do it and then he's trying to convince me to do it, you're a sellout. Shut up. The second part to it was that when like Bocanegra called him out on it, he basically called him a racist for like.
That was the worst part of it for me.
Yeah, that was to me where it truly went over when it went over the line. Because what? Because you're not doing it too? Come on, you owe a lot to Mexicans. Like nobody's saying anything about Mexicans. We're saying Mexico, the team. Right. Nobody's saying anything about people.
We don't.
I mean, I guess you could say the individual people on the team, but nobody's talking about like the human population of the country or of our country. Nobody's saying anything about that. People are hating the team.
There's
when you try to make it bigger than that, it's ridiculous. Now you can say, that I guess that's why I don't hammer Alexi Lalas as much for this. Some of it may be that we just expect less of Lalas because we kind of know what he does. Because he did a lot of this too, like kind of shilling for Mexico on behalf of Fox. But he didn't turn it into like, well, come on, why are you against Mexican Americans or whatever? Like nobody said anything about that. That's not what this is. And you're not only making a fallacious argument, you're sort of shortchanging our own rivalry through this. And that to me is that really pissed me off. Then on top of it, that he severed his contract with León just before they were going to be in Milwaukee. I have tickets to go see them in a few weeks, and now he screws me out of that too. I was like, you dick. So I may change my mind at some point in a year or so, but oh man, no, he's kind of dead to me right now.
Yeah, that's a little much for me. I mean, I was pissed, but he's still Landon Donovan. I think that's taken a little too far. Like, here's the thing: you can make a legitimate argument that cheering for Mexico benefits the U.S. in that if Mexico does well, it helps the Confederation, which in turn helps us. I guess. I don't do it, but I understand that argument. And you can make an argument that you feel a connection to the Mexican people because you grew up around them in Southern California. I completely understand that. Mexicans are a huge part of American culture. They're everywhere. We eat Mexican food weekly in this country now. You don't even consider it as being exotic or anything. It's a part of our fabric. So I can understand that. Wells Fargo's a bit of a dirty bank, but he did do the Donovan commercial with them, and that was pretty funny. And I think there's like a little bit of humor. I see what they're going for with the
commercial. The commercial I was okay with. It was the rest of the stuff that
exactly.
It was the commercial. It was sort of like the one with Chicharito 4 years ago,
right?
Where
but
yeah,
kind of like that. Yes,
it looks like he's wearing a U.S. jersey, and he's like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chicharito one was better because it was like a psych out thing. But
yeah,
I can kind of. But then the part where I got pissed was the comment to Bocanegra, and he did backtrack. Landon, to his credit, did backtrack, and then I listened to Grant Wall's podcast today, and Landon was on for like 20 minutes, and I thought it was. I guess I get where he's coming from. He kind of talked about the whole process leading up to the commercial. They thought it was going to be a good idea. He's like, I was dumb and didn't realize it was going to be so poorly received. Which I don't know how you didn't know, but yeah, it's as he's not the guy I want cheering for our arch rival.
Awkward.
Michael's right.
Coming back to is awkward.
Yeah,
the whole thing just seemed really awkward in that sense. Now I've got a random question. Speaking of, because we've been talking about Mexico, the U.S., and so on and so forth. It brought a good question to me. If Mark Geiger went to Rafa Marquez and asked for his jersey, would Geiger get arrested trying to come back into the country?
Hopefully there would be some cocaine in it, and that would turn into proof.
He can't play here, right? In that Nashville friendly, and he's not going to be in this country anymore ever again. I would imagine.
Hopefully not.
He can't even. Somebody pointed out he can't wear Nike or any other American company as a sponsor because he can't our money. So it's a very interesting thing. I hate him so much.
Who was the hockey player couldn't go to Canada anymore? Which one was that? Played for the Red Wings forever. Wasn't it, or couldn't go to Canada, or couldn't go to Canada because he'd get arrested for. Eventually they solved it, but it was the same type. It was a drugs thing. So he stayed in the
that.
You bring up hockey almost every show.
I thought didn't Lindros have some? It was like a DUI at 18 or something, so he had to stay in Philadelphia for a while. When he was first at the Flyers, it was like 18 or 19 or something.
This was somebody who played for the Red Wings, which is what made it more enjoyable. Yeah, let's.
Just their old arena was 9 feet from Canada.
Is there any proof of the Marquez stuff? Jules says, would this be as fun if there was proof? It would be as fun, I guess.
There's proof that he's on a flowchart from the IRS as being a front man for a drug cartel. Do they have proof? I don't know. And as we talked about on that show, the only time we've ever done anything remotely close to defending Rafa Marquez, we did point out that it could be possible in Mexico to be involuntarily roped into something like that. And so I don't know the details. We just like to make fun of him. It's possible he's being screwed over by the U.S. government. So anything's possible.
And again, now,
which I'm totally fine with too. Even if it's complete bullshit and it's just the government trying to screw him over, I am completely fine with that. Screw him over for the rest of his life. I am cool with it. Let it be totally unconstitutional, still cool with it.
So now it brings me to two questions.
Him and Sepp Blatter.
My next question. You can save one of the three. Pepe, Sergio Ramos, or Rafa Marquez. Why would you bother?
Not Rafa Marquez.
Just one? I know which one it's not for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be more for me. It would be Marquez. It's still not fair because I was going to say Marquez, De Jong, and Kevin Prince Boateng. They're probably my three most hated soccer players in the world in history. And if I had oh god, I mean Marquez always trumps everyone. So if it was like you have to pick one to save, I'd find a way to pick one of those other two.
I did tell you, TJ, I don't think you know this, Chris. I told you this. There's a website, I think it's called Cameo, where you can get like second-rate celebrities to record special messages for you for like, some amount of money. I was on there like 2 months ago, and they had two soccer players. It was Nigel de Jong and Kevin Prince Boateng. Literally those two.
That's
it said temporarily unavailable. If it was any kind of affordable rate, I was buying both of them for a special message for you for your next birthday.
Hey, Chris, I hate you too.
Heard you hate me, Chris.
I gotta say, the one positive thing I can say about Osvaldo Sanchez is when you flipped him off and he turned around and flipped you off back. That was pretty cool.
I do wear that as a badge of honor.
So we got Michael Stein saying Marquez and De Jong cage fight to the death with Howard Webb officiating.
Oh, God. Howard Webb of Lies. That was always my hashtag, Webb of Lies, because that guy is a crook. Yeah, I mean, Ben says he can root for certain Mexican players like Ochoa, Chicharito, Osorio. I cannot. I absolutely won't put Chicharito on that list. But it's not that I root for them. But there are certain players that, like, even I kind of accept that they're pretty damn good. Guardado, I actually think Guardado is incredible. Like, I do think that guy is genuinely good. I won't trash him.
We did learn to love Blanco too when he was in Chicago.
True, yeah.
I will say
I was not a fan of Blanco's before he showed up, but I did come to really like him while he was in Chicago. I did come to appreciate all the reasons that you sort of that like Mexicans loved him for so long.
If you want to continue hating Chicharito, don't read Grant Wall's book, because he actually comes across as cool and smart in Grant Wall's book. He's got a huge chapter dedicated to him. So I find it increasingly hard to hate him when I hear him speak and get his thoughts on things, and and then I see him play, and the rolling around on the ground and shit brings me right back to where I was. But
when he gets done with his career for Mexico, he can go to Iran, go play for Iran, and dive around like that one dude.
Hunter asked, "Who is Howard Webb?" Howard Webb used to be a referee in the Premier League. He was a cop who reffed in the week. Like, literally, his regular career was as a policeman, and he was a ref on the weekends. He was terrible about giving like Manchester United whatever they needed to win a game.
He was the ref for the end of the Invincibles, right?
I think that is correct.
Yeah, with the pizza fight where Vieira threw the pizza and Nistelrooy or whoever it was.
He, if United was down a goal and there was 1 minute of stoppage, they would have 8 minutes of stoppage. And it happened all the time.
And he worked his way. Didn't he do a World Cup final? Didn't he do Italy? Didn't he do the Zidane?
Did he do Italy, or did he do Italy, or did he do the Spain and?
He was everywhere.
It might have been 2010. Yeah, it might have been 2010.
I mean, realistically, he's not that old. Like,
I think it was. I think it was Spain and the Netherlands when he gave like 800 yellow cards but wouldn't give a red card.
Yeah, if you go through my my tweets, you will see many things about hashtag Web of Lies.
Michael says 2010, so there it is. I say that's fact then. Yes, Vieira is going to Nice, which is kind of sad because I'm going to the Fire game in like 10 days when they play NYCFC, and I wanted to see him, but
somehow I think you'll be okay, Pat.
I'll live.
When Arsenal was still looking at a kind of quote unquote internal candidate, he was the one I wanted. He was the one I was really hoping would would become the next manager.
Should we look ahead in this World Cup?
Man, Webb is only 46 years old, according to Christian. Jesus.
That seems crazy.
Think about that.
Sorry, Robert. He may have given a red card in extra time. It's because he ran out of guys to give yellow cards to. I'm pretty sure everybody, including the bench, had one at that point for Holland.
Tomorrow is Brazil and Costa Rica.
Yeah. A real CONCACAF of real CONCACAF interest. We see what Costa Rica really brings to the table tomorrow. I'm kind of expecting them to play something like Switzerland. Knowing Costa Rica, I'm sort of expecting them to do the same thing. If you guys haven't seen, I can't remember. It's like one of those joke Twitter handles had a video going around a couple days ago it was like simulating Neymar, like Switzerland versus Neymar. It was like the ball would go to bounce, and then somebody would come out of nowhere and just slide tackle Neymar.
That was fun. I saw that, yeah.
There'd be a free kick, and before he could take it, somebody'd slide tackle him. I'm sort of expecting the same thing from Costa Rica tomorrow.
What I was going to ask is Costa Rica going to employ the goalkeeper, 8 defenders, and 2 midfielders formation against Brazil?
It wouldn't surprise me, something like that. I mean, we know really well what Costa Rica does. Like, they may have outplayed the U.S. In this round of qualifying, but we know what they do and how they do it. They're playing a team like Brazil. They're going to bunker. They're going to play as rough as possible. If they should somehow get a goal, you may see Brazil do the same thing.
Iceland and Nigeria tomorrow.
That could be a snore fest. It is of interest if you want to see Argentina advance, however, because they need to. I think they're capable of advancing under any outcome, but it becomes much harder, I think, for either. They probably want like a 0-0 draw tomorrow. Which, I don't know, based on kind of the performance of both teams in their first games, I wouldn't totally put that past them.
And Serbia and Switzerland. And then Saturday looks pretty good. Belgium and Tunisia, South Korea and Mexico, and Germany and Sweden. The Death Frog is at it again. I wonder if the Death Frog is benched.
With no Zlatan, which sucks.
Yeah. I think they play better without him.
I don't care even if they do work better. He would be like, at least you'd see something cool happen or something crazy happen. Because I don't care one way or the other if Sweden does well, you know? I just want it to be entertaining.
I don't know. Seeing the Bro-Rel guys go apeshit or the anti-MLS guys go apeshit because Zlatan is working for somebody over there, was over in Russia, and he missed an Open Cup game that he probably wasn't going to play in anyway. It's like, you think this was pre-negotiated before he came over? Really?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Had he truly decided whether or not he was going to play in the World Cup? You know, he was even saying in interviews, like when he joined MLS, or when he joined the Galaxy, that it was up to him whether or not he could go if he felt like he could do it.
He did always say Zlatan is going to the World Cup, though, which I think was just he knew he was going to end up going for marketing reasons anyway. Like maybe, TJ said, it was pre-negotiated.
Probably, yeah.
And that looks like, and then Sunday we've got England and Panama. We get to see if Harry Kane is still going to score goals, but they're going to be not good enough for you. Japan and Senegal, and Poland and Colombia. And then Monday starts the final round of games. So, which is crazy that we're this far in already. And actually, somebody asked if I feel like relieved as the teams are getting eliminated, we're getting closer. I feel kind of sad. Like once the groups start shaping up, and I know that that game's not. I'm going to watch a game that doesn't really matter here soon. I feel kind of sad, but it does get exciting. It's exciting, but I just the opening. Like the second day of the tournament for me, because the first day was kind of a letdown because it was Russia. So the second day of the tournament for me was like,
and that horrible opening ceremony. Ugh,
I didn't watch it on purpose.
So tacky and.
Can we talk about the stadium announcer?
What do you mean?
Mother Russia done it again.
President Putin says all will perish who beat Russia.
So they basically took one of Vince McMahon's old Russian characters and put him in and made him a stadium announcer.
It's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's doing like a Family Guy character of a Russian. Christian says, imagine if Iran beats Portugal. That would be insane. I am going to miss the coach for Morocco and his deep V, his deeply unbuttoned shirts.
I can't remember who said. Damn it! I should know this because it was somebody. It was Damn it! He coaches Marquette. Louis Bennett. He tweeted today. What is Pitbull doing on the Argentina bench?
He is Mr. International.
That made me laugh out loud.
He's coming here in like a week.
Yeah.
To the western suburbs of Chicago. Yeah. Mr. International is going to play Rib Fest in Naperville.
I remember I saw that. Is that really how far he's fallen? He's gone from World Cup openers to Rib Fest?
See, I think with him is he does everything because he knows that it's a short window to get as much money as he can. So, yeah.
I get Rib Fest, though, dude. Then again, Naperville is 250,000 people. So, I mean, it's not small by any stretch.
No, I mean, it's
Naperville. It's Naperville, yeah.
It sounds like number count from Sesame Street, says Michael.
2.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Fox losing the TV ratings battle. Did anybody expect anything other than that?
I mean, we're not in it.
Should we comment on Fox?
I don't think they've sucked. I think they've been fine.
They haven't sucked as bad as I expected. I don't think it's been fantastic by any means.
But then again,
ESPN's still better. NBC, I think, is still better for soccer.
Yeah. But I mean, from a talent perspective, I think Fox has a lot of people that I like. I like Rob Stone. But Kate Abdo is awesome when she's hosting on the weekends. But from a production standpoint, I mean, I will say the games that are being called off monitors, I have a hard time telling. It's not been that troubling. The set, you can't really tell as a set. It looks like they're just sitting in front of the cathedral, which isn't that big of a deal. I guess it's fine. But I just remember last time around, ESPN would have like the set they'd go to where they're sitting around at night talking, kind of relaxed, and they'd go to Men in Blazers in the closet. They had their main set. It felt bigger, but
I also liked Roberto Martinez.
He was great on TV. Yeah. But I like some of the people Fox has too. So
I guess with the expectations everybody had for Fox, pretty much short of Lawless pissing himself, they were going to exceed their expectations. I felt that was about the standard they were set at, was Lawless actually peeing himself on camera.
You want to talk about bad TV production? U.S. Open Cup last night in Atlanta versus Chicago. That was a college-level broadcast. There were a lot of problems with that thing.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah. Between the announcer who's called them the 5 stripes like 68 times. But, I mean, just from a production standpoint, there was audio issues. There were graphics issues. The replay guy must have left because they just stopped. Not good. So,
but then again, it was the highest attended Open Cup game ever, 41,000.
The crowd looked, fantastic. And if that thing were here, it would have gotten 1,000 people. So we'll see in a couple weeks what it gets.
Yeah, when Louisville City's there, 1,000 sounds about right. But Don did make the trip for the fire.
Oh, God. Don.
That's a whole other show. Like that's not really a show for us. But that's a thing right there. That is a fascinating thing.
Robert, you are correct. I do like Ian Wright being on Fox's coverage. It's not so much that I think he's been great. I don't know that on air his personality, he's fantastic. But yes, I do love him. As I've said before, I did want to name my first son after him and Thierry Henry. You want to talk about bad TV production? Chris breaks everything tech. Everything's been working lately. I've been doing.
Were you punching that show? Were you punching that game last night? Because I mean, seriously, the only thing that is better than that game from a production standpoint is probably this show. So, even like if you go back and do one of the shows where you were like in the car and the car wouldn't start and you're kind of drunk and people are worried that do you have the keys in the ignition?
I was not drunk.
Sure. Okay. And Rafa Marquez isn't the coke deal, isn't it? All the coke trafficking.
It's raining and like your mic's rubbing against your jacket and somebody's rapping on the window to see if you're okay. Yeah, one of those shows, you're going in and out. Yeah, it still was better than last night. So,
but the fire advanced, which I guess when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it was great. That was fun.
I guess I look at the production value in this sense. Charlie never complained about it. He watched the whole game on my tablet, so if he didn't complain, I guess I really didn't notice that much.
My son was screaming, "Why aren't they showing a replay after the goal? Why aren't they show it?"
Because the guy left for a hot dog. Let's face it.
Yeah,
remember they're cheap there.
Yeah. So,
do we want to talk about the USSF tax or whatever financials finally came out?
You can. I saw the headline, but I didn't read the story, so I'm.
Neither did I. I was hoping Chris read it because I really didn't.
I have not.
I looked at it and really just didn't give
busy things. My house flooded a few days ago. I've been. It's only as of this afternoon that it finally doesn't have fans and things running in the basement nonstop.
I guess
for a while there.
I get the only thing the only thing I've taken away out of the U.S. soccer audit or financials coming out is apparently the deal with some was extended right before the election.
Right. Yeah, that's dirty to me. And that, if I'm talking as a person who used to be a good government guy and talk on TV about that, that's dirty. And that obviously should have been left to the new.
It's dirty. It might be dirty to me that it came out right before the election, but then again, I'm guessing Cordero knew about it as well. It's one of those that it's
right, because he won. It's fine, I guess. In the end,
it's early. It's what it is. And you've been around that business long enough. It's early. It's the early window where you can extend your contract if things are going well. And let's face it, for U.S. Soccer and for Soccer United Marketing, it's a good deal for both of them. Why wouldn't you extend it at this point? I get it if U.S. Soccer thinks they can make more money. But I guess that's kind of the question. If they think they can make more money, maybe that's what they do. But at the same time, if you're happy with the way things are going for you, you extend out.
And obviously they had a pretty good sense that one of their people was going to win that election too. I mean, maybe they didn't know if it was going to be Carlos or Kathy, but I think they knew they had the votes to win it. So I guess Carlos probably isn't upset that there's a deal in place with some. Now, if Eric Winalda had somehow won, it would have been a different issue. But did we talk about the Landon Donovan thing? We did. We're annoyed too, Cisco. We're annoyed too. That sums it up right there. Shit's annoying. I mean, it is. It is. Chris said that Chris went as far as to say that Landon is dead to him. I still remember Algeria, and
I sometimes come back on my statements and don't hold them forever. So I will eventually cool in this and not feel as angry about it. But yeah, I'm pretty pissed off at Donovan right now.
Anonymity, you're better than to have to put in parentheses what your joke is about. I feel like Can't Quit Him is strong enough that you don't need to explain that joke. And you're the king of the subtle joke anyway, so that's, you're better than that. You can do better than that.
Christian it's got to be Christian, because I've seen this comment go by several times, and I see it here. Would Switzerland beat Mexico in the round of 16 if they met? They did tie against Brazil. Possibly. I mean, part of the reason they tied against Brazil was they tried to kill Neymar. So,
how sure of a deal would it be that Granit Xhaka would get a red card if he was playing against Mexico? Like, I feel like there's about a 75% chance.
I do think
he's two-footing somebody
different. It's certainly plausible. I do feel like he's a little bit different maybe a lot different for Switzerland though, because maybe because he's just more important to their team.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be as reckless as he sometimes is with Arsenal. Although I also think some of that is narrative over reality for Arsenal too. But
it's 10:11 in the Central Time Zone here. We've been going for 71 minutes.
Yeah, it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah. All right. This is USfanTV. Normally we talk about soccer in the United States, but we're just going to talk about the World Cup until it's over because we're not in it. We have a website. We have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and a YouTube channel, and they're all USfanTV. So you can find them and you could follow us and like us and give us your subscriptions and all that stuff so that we feel better about ourselves, because otherwise we're very, very sad people. And then we don't like Snapchat. We haven't said that in a while. We haven't told you that in a while, but we don't like Snapchat.
We can't effectively say we don't like Snapchat when Chris has Snapchat.
He does have Snapchat, and he likes to tell people that he doesn't. I couldn't figure it out, but you know what? He has it. So, and it's no surprise to anyone that he couldn't figure it out. So, we'll do we are doing a show on Thursday because we didn't do one Tuesday because Chris's basement flooded, and we didn't do one yesterday because Chris's basement flooded, and we wanted Chris to be on the show, so we did it today. We'll probably do it Tuesday of next week, unless there's something like crazy that happens that we feel like we have to talk about before that. But I think we'll get back to Tuesdays, but who the hell knows? We'll wait and see. So, all right, TJ, final words.
I got a whole lot of nothing tonight.
Chris.
Just tonight? I think I've said my piece.
All right.
We're done.
It's been fun. We'll see you soon. Go World Cup. You're done.